Welcome to the Do Nothing Project, April 10th, 2022. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Just wait for confirmation over in chat. Big thank you to Lauren holding it down in the blue font. Yes, hello, Saban. Ahoy, Elise. And all other fine humans that are also commenting, like human commenting. Welcome again to another edition of our exploration of nothing. Okay, got the confirmation from Lauren. Good, thank you. I'm plugged in this time. I think the last time I guest hosted, or 2 times ago, I forgot, and my mic was here, and we picked up lots of background noise. Still a fair amount of background noise. I did a sound check before this. But thankfully, I know that everyone here is used to keeping their standards low, and as long as you can hear me, hopefully that's okay. So filling in again for Jeff. If you are new, I know a few folks have had their first time or their second time here being when I guest host. So I am Andrew. I'm part of the normally behind the scenes crew on the Do Nothing Project. Now been part of the Do Nothing Project for 2+ years, something like that. It's a great honor that Jeff will let me guest host and fill in from time to time. So I really appreciate that. Bit of my background, been a meditator for 10+ years, and I'm a certified meditation coach in the unified mindfulness system. I did that a couple of years ago now, I guess almost 3 years ago now. So that's a bit of like how I'm qualified to do that or do this, and hopefully we'll do sort of a nice amount of sort of in my terms, borrowing from the lexicon of Mike Watt here. We'll go with kind of a econo sit. It's not a whole lot. So again, the Do Nothing Project, we don't do a whole lot of anything. You're always welcome to keep a practice or keep and maintain your practice if you're here for just community. Totally fine. So please know that whenever or whatever I offer as guidance is a sort of an invitation. So for themes, I didn't really have a whole lot that I was going to go for, and I kind of thought I would just kind of head into something very light and kind of play along with this sort of stripped down sort of jammy kano is a line for what Mike Watt used to refer to the music that he's put out in the bands that he's been in, and this idea of sort of stripped down meditation. But I have one of these things. This is Trusting the Mind. It's a translation of Ts'an, which is Ts'an is just the Zen pronunciation for the Chinese pronunciation of the Zen characters. Ts'an, I think. TS apostrophe AN, translated by Red Pine. I will occasionally have this next to my cushion, and I'll grab it and kind of flip to things. A bit in the way that Jeff talks about using the I Ching, where he goes to sort of an I Ching hexagram. And so, like, I just opened this up, and 21 is don't cling to dualities, don't seek them out. And so sometimes I'll just throw that. I'll throw one of these things into my meditation, and I don't have this, but in the wider UM and Shinzen community, there's a meditation teacher named Daron Larson. Daron has been a guest on the 10% Happier podcast. Also has a TEDx talk from, I think, TEDx Columbus. He lives in the Columbus, Ohio area, I believe, or at least did. And Daron posted a poem that James Broughton, BROUGHTON, had posted. In the last little bit, there's a line in here that says, everything transforms. So the last sort of line is, nothing perishes, nothing survives, everything transforms. And so that's kind of my theme for what I want to play with tonight, is this idea of like kind of everything transforming. So moment to moment, boredom transforms into interest, which transforms into worry, which transforms into more boredom, which transforms into curiosity, maybe. but there's just sort of a notion of as we move through a given sit, always sort of transforming from one moment to the other. And so that's kind of what I want to play around with very lightly. And we'll do a sit that'll have maybe a little more space in it with a little less guidance from me. So that's that. That's where we're headed. What we're going to do is a 25-minute sit. 5 minutes at the end will be a friendliness practice. And then at the end, we'll chat a little bit about seeing if anybody has anything to share or experience reports, kind of that. And then on our way into the next week. So just to check. And then, I've, as Jeff notes, and I always want to note, like, I love seeing everybody check in. So hello to Sandra, Fred. I know Angie couldn't make it tonight. Brooke. And so Ruthless Crab, Gabrielle. I know I missed a bunch of people too because I was yammering on. And then I'm from Minnesota, so if you ever notice that I always take note, or I try to say hi to everybody from Minnesota doubly, that's part of that. And I live in Tucson, Arizona, so I think I forgot to mention that. And Connie said haircut or new person. So I am Andrew Lenards. I am the fill-in guest host for tonight. Probably did a little bit of a botch job at the beginning talking about that, but yeah, so new person. So no beard, no haircut, no Buddha with tea, no other stuff on that. So yeah, so we'll play around. I'll guide a little bit around this kind of everything transforms. I'll drop in a few different things along the way. This everything transforms has been notable for me because I've been both working through things and sort of supporting those around me and family, and then also, like, if you follow me on Instagram, fighting our travel trailer. So as Chris is pointing out, I don't know if I'm a master mechanic yet, but definitely doing what I can. So I've got my bell. We will put 25 minutes on the clock. And then hopefully I'm not shocking too many other folks that are here for the first time. But if you are for the first time, I'm not Jeff. We're very happy that you're here live. Yes. Oh, and the last reminder, I think I said this already, but so if you have your own practice, you're always welcome to do that. And then you're allowed to just kind of, or I would encourage you just to kind of let me fade into the background. I will pick up a little bit of audio, or I know I have a little bit of more sort of room tone audio in my space, but hopefully you can allow that to be in the background. All right. I think everything's going. So thanks again to Lauren. All right, good. I'm glad that I sound good. We'll see how this works. Just at the top, I just saw a question, is Jeff okay? Jeff is fine. This was one of those things where we had planned on me potentially taking this spot. So just, yeah, Jeff and the greater, wider Warren family are all right. I just want to call attention to that at the beginning, just because if you didn't know that, that might make this sit a little more mentally preoccupied. So, and just starting out, just to settling in. And those that have sat with my guidance before know that I like to kind of do a little bit of a 3-step settling in as I begin a meditation. Posture is key in the practice that I've been doing through however long it's been now. So I'm going to check in with my posture, just making sure that my body is, or my torso, if possible, is upright. I'm not straining, allowing my weight to be distributed in a way that helps me feel stable. And then just knowing that if I do feel a little scattered, one of the things that I do first and foremost is check in with my posture. So as I sit, I'm coming back to how's my posture. And then after I've checked in with my posture, I just see what the tension level is in the body. Carries tension in different places. You may know yours better, obviously, than I do, but I'll often see from sort of the top of the head or the crown of the head down to my shoulders, just seeing if I have any tension. Checking in the forehead, around the eyes, the jaw, and then notably the neck and shoulders. As I sit, my shoulders often creep and creep and creep up, so it's one thing that I look for. And as we notice tension, sometimes it will begin to sort of melt away, and other times it won't. And if it doesn't release, that's our first chance to bring a bit of equanimity and allowing the tension to be there. And just to play around a little with our theme tonight with this, everything is transformed, or everything's transformed. We'll do 3 sort of slow, deep, deliberate breaths. So as I like to say, slow and low, like the Beastie Boys said, that's our tempo. So breathing in through the nose allows us to slow the breath down, and then breathing low into the belly. And then seeing if we can accentuate and extend the exhale. And so before we move into the rest of the sit, just marking where we're at right here as a sort of waypoint that we can come back to. Dropping a pin in the map of our awareness. For many folks, just sitting and being aware they're sitting is a touchstone of their practice. And if that isn't enough support for you tonight, or today, or whenever you're listening, totally fine. You're always welcome to work with a home base. For me, I'll use the sounds around me. A fan, a heating vent, or maybe an AC vent nowadays. Refrigerator. So allow you to settle in, and I'll check in a bit. So as we're sitting, sometimes something arises that's of interest, or sometimes we see an opportunity, or sometimes we're scattered or we don't feel quite right, and there's a necessity for us to where we're at. Just checking in. If you're settled in and everything's good, then please excuse my interruption. If things aren't feeling quite right, just beginning with checking in on your posture. If I feel like there's sort of a bit of awareness needs to be transformed for me, sometimes we'll pick a phrase or two. So if I'm in a good situation or even a neutral situation, I'll sometimes say to myself, imagine wanting or needing only this. All that you have right now, imagine only needing this. And if I'm not in a good place, dealing with a loss or just things aren't good, I'll lean into this too shall pass, whatever it is. So keep going. So if you're working with a home base, we're seeing how close you can kind of get to that, if it's sound or body sensations, the breath. It might help you sort of energize your practice right now if you're feeling a little bit sluggish. And if you're feeling sort of too racy around, am I doing this right? Or how close can I really get? Or if you're fixating too much on the home base, seeing if you can sort of let go and coast. Give yourself the ability to really do nothing. Let your attention wander wherever it will. Hopefully that allows you to shift accordingly. Okay, move into our friendliness practice. Hopefully folks are still here. So when we work with a friendliness practice, is one way to look at it. Metta is what a lot of traditions will call it. Shinzen likes to call it nurture positive. So we're bringing to mind someone, and then without sort of dictating things, we're wishing them well, and then allowing those well wishes to be felt in the body. And you'll often hear folks say that you can customize these messages. So we'll play around with a little bit of customization. But before we begin, I'll offer the normal phrases that you usually hear when we bring up someone who's we're thinking of or is in need or is struggling. We would say in the traditional phrases, may you be safe, be happy, be healthy, and then often live with ease. So that's one of the options, bringing to mind someone that is struggling, and then offering those phrases. Again, may you be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. But in the time we have remaining, I'll offer a bit of my customizations. Again, you're free to use them or not use them. So 90-day return policy. So bringing to mind that friend or family member, and then offering phrases. May you bask in the okayness of every day. May you feel free to pass on social invitations. Or just shorten it to may you bask in okayness. Or may every day be a delight. And if you don't like those, I encourage you to and customize. And then just because it seems like Chad is offering, may your connection and be strong. May YouTube not be glitchy. And then if another person comes to mind, go ahead and bring them vividly into your thoughts. Sometimes adding voice or a voice to the pictures and images, mental images, and then offering phrases. May your day be a delight. May you see the okayness around you. May just the and then briefly bringing to mind maybe your neighborhood or all of North America or all sentient beings, whatever you feel like you've got the energy for, and wishing them well. Thank you for your practice. Thanks everyone for showing up live. thank you to Jeff, Lynn, Lily, Lauren. It sounds like things were super glitchy, and I don't know if that's on my end or it's the great YouTube servers in the sky. But yeah, so thank you, Ruthless. Yeah, I am trying my best to bask in as much mundane okayness as possible. I realize this is an utter privilege, at least in Arizona, but things are getting sort of as back to normal as I can imagine, and sort of I have this feeling that of how long will it last, and so I'm both wanting to see people that I haven't seen since the before times, and then also sort of suddenly feeling the schedule and everything is really picking up. So yeah, everyone's very, very welcome. So as a reminder for anybody that joined late, or to the question of is it always like this, to some degree, yes. Very pared down as far as our as a guidance. So the Do Nothing and Do Nothing project comes from a certain style of sitting that Shinzen Young and the Zen tradition is particularly fond of. So it is 25 minutes every time. There is friendliness every time, but maybe, yeah, it's not always me. So yeah, I'm glad that resonated with folks. I think that's a line that I've used in guidance in the past, and people seem to like it. So yeah, I would just offer to for folks that the METTA or meta loving kindness, also friendliness practice is what we usually refer to it as. That customization is I think really helpful to sort of make the practice your own, and it cuts through a little bit of the potential feeling of phoniness when you first start out. And I realized that I didn't customize I always hear that. I'll hear folks say, here are the phrases and you can change them. And I didn't do it for a long time. So I just want to encourage folks in that way. Yeah. So we do expect Jeff to be back next week. I will sort of, and I don't think I shared this with Lauren, so I will drop this into chat. Let's see if I can get it under 200 characters first. So the Consciousness Explorers podcast has a Patreon now, and they're looking for the Patreon as a way to begin the process of trying to help bridge them into a season 2. So if you aren't aware that the Mind Body Adventure Pod is out, and season 1 is continuing at the moment. There's some great episodes out there, so please check that out. And then, as Lauren had mentioned too, Consciousness Explorers Club, CEC Meditate, is another way to show support for the channel. And again, this is offered for free, just as an aside, for those that are curious about particularly the podcast and what might be next for the podcast. So awesome. Big thanks to everybody. I really appreciate hearing or seeing all of the kind words and thank yous. You're very, very welcome. I feel remarkably lucky to be able to fill in from time to time, and I feel remarkably lucky to be part of the community. So thank you very much. Have a great week. And for those in Australia, I hope the future, you've kept the future bright for us, and your week has already started off well. So to Richard and Sybil, there's at least a few Aussies that are always checking in. So I really do appreciate that. And yeah, have a good night.